What is everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixels Podcast. I'm your host, Brad, joined by my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
And Carrie.
What's up?
A lot of news is what's up this week. A lot of news. We had a Nintendo Direct. Tariffs are going to be affecting our very real video game lives starting this week. That's very exciting. We've got new games to talk about, and we have some post office stuff, including some questions about the goings-ons of last night in the World Wrestling Federation. So that's going to be an exciting topic of conversation. But before we get into all of that, a little bit of housekeeping. Don't forget that you can join our Discord by going to densepixels.com/fans to chat with other listeners of the show. Of course, you can follow us on YouTube by going to youtube.com/densepixels to subscribe there. You can also find us wherever pods get caught. Just search for TNP Studios, and you'll find us, the Nerdpocalypse, Black and Black Cinema, and Look Forward. And, of course, if you want to support us with zeal, go to densepixels.com/premium, just $5 a month to support one of your favorite independent media companies out there. Very much not an independent media company is Atari. And they've been making some moves in the past couple of years. They were actually in the news last week because they acquired Thunderful Games, who were the publishers of the Steam World franchise of games, which are games that I actually like quite a bit. But they also acquired a couple of years ago Digital Eclipse. And Digital Eclipse is probably best known for their docu-games that they have put out a few of over the last couple of years. I talked last year or several months ago about Tetris Forever, which is a really good history of Tetris and in all of its different iterations. And I was in the mood for something kind of laid back and fast as I'm still working through Donkey Kong Bonanza 100%ing that game. And so I actually went through two of their other docu-games. Probably the most prominent one, Atari 50, which details the history of the Atari Corporation. And then Llamasoft, the Jeff Minter story, which is another really cool one as well. You can definitely tell that Tetris Forever came later in Digital Eclipse's chronology, because I think they did a better job of kind of the documentary side of it than they did in these first two games. Atari 50 was a little bare on documentary content for my liking, and part of that's because, like, if you are, like, you know, into games and you're my age, you probably know a lot about the story of Atari and the kind of the history of Atari games. And so there wasn't a whole ton of new information that we found there. The bigger thing is just kind of getting interviews with people that were actually, like, there when it happened, sort of thing. The Jeff Minter one was really interesting. I don't know how many people are familiar with Llamasoft. Llamasoft is a company, an independent company that started making games in the 80s, and it basically for a long time was just Jeff Minter. And his bag was pretty much making, like, arcade style games that were really that had like a
mostly
that had like a psychedelic kind of vibe or art style to them, or that were just very weird and quirky. Probably the game he's most known for is probably Tempest 2000, which was the kind of the premier game for the Atari Jaguar, that, you know, as premier as those as a game can be for the Atari Jaguar. And so that was interesting because I was relatively unfamiliar with Llamasoft, and of course because it's centered around one guy, there's a lot more information there because, you know, Jeff Minter is still with us, and he's happy to talk about his history and games that he's made and things like that. And his games are just really interesting, like they're really quirky and cool. And just kind of different than anything else that was being made. And it actually is kind of a broader thing that I've been learning more and more about, especially the British game development scene in the 1980s. that relied a lot on things like, you know, the Commodore 64 and like the ZX Spectrum and stuff like that. That because they didn't really have consoles over there in the 80s. Like they were mostly a computer gaming culture, and so they didn't suffer the same video game crash that we saw in the US in the 1980s or in the early 1980s. And also just a lot more homebrew over there. I think like the kind of that scene was the originator of a lot of like what we now would think of as like independent gaming, because you had a lot of amateur coders just programming games, just basically like trying to mimic arcade games that they knew and port it down to the hardware that they had. And then eventually a lot of those folks would end up making their own designs and kind of iterating from there. So Llamasoft was really interesting. The thing that is great about both of these games is that they have a veritable treasure trove of playable versions of these old games, especially the Atari collection. I swear to there has to be at least 50 playable Atari games on that collection, including a couple of like upgraded editions of those games that were made by Digital Eclipse specifically for this collection. And so for that reason alone, as sort of like a kind of gaming museum of sorts, makes these really worthwhile. The Llamasoft game, the only disappointment I have is that it really only covers Jeff Minter's career up until the Atari Jaguar years, which was the mid 90s, and then there wasn't a whole lot after that. Not that, and he's still been developing games. He's still developing games to this day that come out on variable platforms. But if you are a gaming historian or like you're interested in video game history, these two are definitely must check out. It's pretty much anything that Digital Eclipse is putting out as far as these docu games go, are definitely worth checking out. Of course, the big one that they have coming later this year is they're doing a Mortal Kombat one of these, essentially, that will have not only the first 3 Mortal Kombat games, but also all the versions of them. So like they'll have like the, you know, the arcade version, but then also like the console version and the Game Boy version. And they also just announced that like Mortal Kombat Trilogy is going to be part of that collection, because I know that that game trilogy is somehow different than Mortal Kombat 3. Like it has a lot more shit in it. So I know that'll be an entry point for those kind of docu games. I think they call it the Gold Master series, is what they're actually called. But I would definitely encourage checking out Atari 50 and the Llamasoft game and Tetris Forever, because I think Tetris Forever is still the best one of these that we've seen so far.
Sick.
Carrie, you say in the docket here, the Shin Megami Tensei hours simply do not stop.
No, they haven't stopped at all. I did finally finish Shin Megami Tensei V, for as much as I had to be kind to myself and lower the difficulty in order to actually finish the handful of bosses at the end, because nothing is more frustrating than spending 45 minutes working on an endgame boss, getting it down to like the last 5% HP, and then wiping my party because I ran out of resources, basically. And my Nahobino is like max level. And I was just like, fuck this. Like, I'm not going to try to re-strategize. I'm literally just going to lower the difficulty level. It's fine. I finished the Canon of Vengeance story. So now I can New Game Plus the Canon of Creation, which I started but never finished. Canon of Creation is the vanilla Shin Megami Tensei V story. But in the meantime, I also started Raidou HD. And I'm really enjoying that so far. Raidou is a very different style of game from pretty much all of the other Shin Megami Tensei games, in so much that it's not turn-based combat, it's action. It's different in a way that I think is really fun. It still feels like a Shin Megami Tensei title in the kind of overall atmosphere and mood, but it's a fun twist. So Raidou HD, The Mystery of the Soulless Army, is a mouthful of a title, but still better than the original title, which was Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner Raidou Kuzunoha versus the Soulless Army. In a lot of ways, quality of life upgrades are great. The ability to save anywhere, wonderful. what a small but meaningful update. Instead of having to run around trying to find a save point, you can have a quick save file, which is great. Um, that being said, there are still a lot of PS2 isms about it. The camera angles have remained static and unchanged. So it does still kind of feel like, PS1, PS2, like running through kind of pre-rendered streets and whatnot.
Hmm.
So I'm trying to put myself back in that mindset, but that's really my only gripe, is that they, for as much as it is like a full remake, they decided to keep that particular, you know, PS2ism about it. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. If you're interested in like the kind of vibe of a Shin Megami Tensei game, but maybe turn-based combat isn't your speed, Raidou would probably be what I would recommend, just because it is real-time like action combat, rather than turn-based. So
Very cool.
yeah.
Speaking of games with very convoluted naming conventions, we had a Nintendo Direct last week. Nintendo announced it literally the day before it happened. This was a partner showcase, and we got some interesting announcements, including two from Square. One of which looked a hell of a lot like an Octopath Traveler game, but done in an action RPG format. And this was called The Adventures of Elliot: The Millennium Tales, which is a new game that's coming out from those folks. It's coming out in 2026. There is a demo available on the Nintendo Switch. I have not yet had a chance to play it, but this is not a turn-based RPG. It doesn't have anything to do with Octopath Traveler, just borrows the
No,
HD
it's
2D
just
art
in the
style.
HD 2D style, in the same way that Triangle Strategy didn't have anything to do with Octopath, but was in the same style. I'm interested. I also haven't gotten the demo yet, but the way that Square Enix has kind of done these new games in their HD 2D style is they'll do this demo period, and then they basically want you to fill out a survey and provide feedback and be like, hey, I really liked this, but this didn't do it for me. And then they make adjustments kind of based on what the majority of feedback kind of tells them about what was liked and what was disliked, which I think that's cool. Not a lot of companies do that. So yeah, there was that. And then they did give us an
Yeah,
Octopath game.
a new Octopath Traveler game, Octopath Traveler uh, Zero,
Zero.
which I guess is going to be a prequel to the original two games, and it's coming out this year.
Yeah, it's different in so much that rather than it being 8 different characters that all have a set storyline, you create your own character, and then you recruit people into your parties. Apparently there will be more than 30 recruitable party members.
Oh, so they're doing a Suikoden is what they're doing.
Yeah, they're doing a Suikoden. But what I did notice in the trailer is that it appeared that many of the characters that you can recruit are the party members from the first 2 Octopath games. So we'll see what happens. I've been kind of lukewarm on Octopath myself after playing through the first one and thinking that the ending of that game was fucking bullshit. But
so
I didn't,
you never played 2?
I didn't play 2.
Oh, 2 is really good.
I heard 2 was
Yeah.
great. Like I'm willing to give it another shot because I didn't feel it was disrespectful of my time in the way that Bravely was. But it was more like the kind of the way that 1 was trying to haphazardly tie those 8 stories together, and then that like super boss fight at the end. I was just like, nah, I'm fucking done with this.
Yeah.
Like,
Mikey, did you ever play the second one? I know you did play the first one when it came
I
out.
did play the first one. I never finished the first one though. I just
I fell off 2 halfway through the first one.
Yeah. So if you say good, 2 is good. I might.
Two is great, actually. Like I can't remember. Like I know I didn't play it when it came out, but I know it was very high on my new to me list from I think it was 2023 that I played that and talked about that on the show. So yeah, two was excellent, and I'm kind of stoked that we're getting a new one late this year. That's pretty cool. So, Carrie, go ahead. They teed you up at the very beginning with the announcement of a new Monster Hunter Stories
Monster
Twisted
Hunter.
Reflection.
Yes, a new Monster Hunter Stories game. I love these first two games. I started with the second one when that came out on Switch, and then when they did an updated version of the very first one, which was a 3DS exclusive previously, that was something that I played last year and really enjoyed. So yeah, very different gameplay from standard Monster Hunter games. It's a story, narrative-driven, turn-based JRPG, with kind of an anime cel-shaded style to it. And yeah, I'm in. Just tell me when it comes out. I will be there day one. I think these games are a fun, different approach to the world of Monster Hunter and the lore behind the monsters themselves. So yeah, they showed off a lot of the monsters. Obviously the main character has a Rathalos, as in the previous two games. But we saw Legiana, and most notably, they made sure to show off Magnamalo, who was the signature monster of Monster Hunter Rise. So I have to imagine that many of the monsters from Rise will be appearing in Monster Hunter Stories 3. Wouldn't surprise me if they added some of the new monsters that were created for Wilds as well. But that is yet to be seen. They were like, Magnamalo's here. Here's the big angry purple dog. So yeah, stoked on that. The minute it was like, here's an egg, I was like, that's gonna be new Monster Hunter Stories. I called it from the jump.
Yep.
So
and then the only other new game that was announced, there's a brand new Katamari game coming out for the Switch 2 and other
yeah,
platforms called Once Upon a Katamari.
I'm very excited for that. I love Katamari. It's been a while since we've had a totally new Katamari. The last brand new Katamari that we had for console, I think, was 2011.
Yeah, no, it's been a real
Katamari Amore and Touch My Katamari. We had like a mobile game called Tap My Katamari in
just laughing at Micah's reaction to Touch My Katamari. So
and then they did the remakes of the first two games, the re-roll versions of the original Katamari and We Love Katamari. So yeah, the idea that we would have a totally new Katamari experience after literally a decade and a half is wild to me. I thought it was so funny that in the announcement trailer they were like, don't worry, all the music that you really like from the earlier games is still in this one, and you can select it. Because the Katamari games really are known for their soundtracks as much as they are known for anything else, I think.
Yeah. So that'll be out later this year as well, October 24th. And then everything else announced was just stuff that we already knew about that either was getting a new trailer or announced that it was coming to Switch, including EA like quadrupling down on the Switch 2, which is a change from how they typically approach these things. The other stuff was a lot of stuff that we expected. Persona 3 Reload's coming to the Switch in October. Of course, the Final Fantasy Tactics remasters coming as well.
I liked the look at Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. I really liked Age of Calamity, so I'm pretty stoked on this new Hyrule Warriors game, and just seeing kind of like how they plan on connecting it to Tears of the Kingdom, which will likely be in the same way that Age of Calamity, the whole deal was like you have traveled back in time essentially to prevent the calamity kind of from fully happening. And preventing the events of Breath of the Wild. I have to imagine that Age of Imprisonment will take a similar tactic in, you are probably going to be more successful against the forces of Ganondorf and actually more successfully imprison him without like all of the sages dying in the process. So yeah, I'm excited on that.
This trailer revealed a big problem for me. I think I'm ready to try a Muso game, but I don't know.
Ooh.
I don't know where my my ingress should be into that genre. I like, so I'm kind of torn between like, so like I heard Dynasty Warriors Origins, the newest one that came out, is actually really good. But I don't know that I want to pay like, you know, near full price for a game that I'm not sure if I'm gonna like.
Mhm.
I have Persona 5 Strikers, which gives me a nice, connective tissue point to P5, which I like a lot. But it also seems like that game is not like a true Muso game. Like it's kind of like Muso light.
Mhm.
And then like you have the Zelda ones, but I don't really care that much about like the story that they're telling in those games.
Um, I really liked Strikers.
Mm-hmm.
Persona 5 Strikers might be my single favorite like Persona spin-off title
Mm-hmm.
that has come out. Um it is it's it walks a fine line between like Persona shit and Muso shit. So I would not consider it a full Muso game. It's very much half and half Persona and Muso. But I do think that like in that way, it is kind of an interesting ingress into the larger Muso franchise. I didn't play Fire Emblem Warriors, but I did play the hell out of Age of Calamity. I have played like I really liked the earlier like Gundam Muso games, but I'm also like a big Gundam fan just in general. So if you don't
Yeah,
care about
that
Gundam,
wouldn't do anything
that's not gonna do
for
anything
me.
for you.
And I heard like
Um,
Samurai Warriors was good because that has more like RPG systems than most Muso games do. Mike, could you have any advice here? Any
I do not play these types of games.
Okay.
Not because I, you know, think ill of them. I just never got into any particular, you know, like like brand that uses it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I will solicit suggestions from the listeners. So if you're in the Discord, let me know what you think some good ones would be. The only condition is they have to be playable on PC. So because that's where I'm probably gonna be playing them. Steam
Mhm.
Deck verified optimal if that's possible as well, because that probably
hmm.
would be a good place to check those out.
Maybe I'll
Um,
play Strikers since Carrie speaks highly of it.
yeah, and if you like the Persona 5 story, um,
Yeah.
it's a good jumping off point. I mean, I own it, so I might as well play it, but we'll see. Uh,
it's good enough that like if it's the kind of game where if I had time, I would play through it again.
yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well,
There's a Berserk Muso game.
Oh
oh,
yeah, and Fist of
there's
the North
Musos for
Star,
a lot of things.
One Piece. Yeah,
Yeah, there's several One Piece Muso games, I think. So
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
yeah.
Sticking with Nintendo, just the dumbest fucking thing possible is happening this week. We've already seen it in other regions, but now price increases are coming to the United States thanks to tariffs being implemented by the current administration in the United States government, but not on Switch 2 things, notably. The Switch 1 is going to be seeing price increases this week. So starting this week, a Switch 1 OLED is going to be $399.99 here in the US, which is only $50 cheaper than a Nintendo Switch 2, which is kind of crazy.
Mhm.
The Switch Lite is increasing from $199 to $229. And you're also going to see price increases on certain Switch 2 accessories, select amiibo figures, and the Alarmo alarm clock, as well, is going up $10. Nintendo did want to go out of their way to say that the price increases will not affect Switch 2 consoles or Switch 2 games or the Nintendo Switch Online membership. What was missing from that statement, of course, is a comma for now. That was probably implied
Mhm.
at the end of that
So,
sentence.
I wonder how much confusion this is going to
oh,
cause
it's going to cause a
Incredible
lot.
wholesale.
amounts of confusion. Yeah.
Yeah. So, this stinks, But I guess this does go to show that they clearly baked the tariffs into the final price on the Switch 2. And
Well, we think because again,
oh
like
yeah,
the one advantage that they had with the Switch 2, and the reason why it's setting so many sales records right now, is because they did a really good job of getting stock into the country before
yeah, that
tariffs hit.
too.
So
Yeah.
like for all we know, we still might be working through
Mhm.
initial Switch 2 stock that they have stored over here, and when they get through that, who knows
Yeah.
what'll happen then. So
But yeah, if you voted for this administration, this is what you voted for. Congratulations. Hope you're really happy with the result.
yeah, I I saw someone say online. I think it was Giant Bombs Mike Minotti that said like I like if I see someone going to buy a Nintendo Switch 1 for $400, like I think I would physically have to stop them from doing it. Like I would have to attack somebody to prevent that from happening. Cuz that's crazy, right? Like you can't fucking pay $400 in the year of our dog 2025 for a Nintendo Switch 1 console.
No.
Like you
I've
can't.
never heard that before.
So
No, man, this is gonna cause a lot of confusion, man, and it's I feel bad. I feel bad for the people at on both sides of the point of sale. Someone's gonna have to explain to these people that just want to get something for, a loved one,
Mhm.
and yeah, this is and I feel bad for the people walking in there being ignorant. You know what I mean? Like, cause like you can't expect everybody to know all this stuff, and it's just gonna confuse people, and it's gonna give what's that Simpsons reference where Marge gets the wrong game?
oh, Lee Doritos putting challenge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just like,
Instead of
on,
Bone
man.
Store.
Yeah, yeah. Well, congratulations. Um, it's only been 6 months, guys.
It has only been 6 months. The
Wow.
worst somehow is probably yet to come, which is an insane thing to say. But hey, just goes to show you that we here in the U.S. are not immune from those price changes. I would not be surprised if this is Nintendo pulling off the Band-Aid of sorts, and to see other. I mean, Microsoft already did raise prices in the U.S., so it wouldn't be surprised to see Sony follow suit as well. I know they've already increased PlayStation prices overseas, so
Yeah.
I mean, Nintendo has always been the innovator, right? Like they all follow Nintendo's innovations. So, yeah, yeah, get ready, $1,000 consoles are happening, and at that point, what's the point? Like, just assimilate.
I mean that, but also like PC shit gets more expensive too. It's not
Yeah.
like they're building GPUs over
No.
here in
Yeah.
the US. So,
Yeah,
you know, yeah, it's just a fucked up time all around. Again, remember those halcyon days when consoles would go lower in price over time, and instead we have just endured the first generation. Not only did prices hold steady, but they actually have gone up.
yeah, man. It's supposed to be hardware gets cheaper, software gets more expensive. That's the pack that we all have agreed to. Not both of them getting expensive.
Yeah, no, not anymore. Buy it now or pay more later is the new message. Which, hey, like if you ran out and bought a Nintendo Switch 2 at launch just because you were just like, well, it can only go up from here. Look, you might have you might just justified
Yeah.
that accurately. Yeah. Yeah, me too. I mean, like I said, the reason I jumped so quickly is was like, well, it's only going to get more expensive. Like, it's not going to be,
Yeah, man.
it's not going to stay $500. So,
Jesus.
some positive news from the story we've been talking about for the past couple episodes, as far as adult games getting gripped down from marketplaces thanks to pressure from payment processors. Itch has at least began re-indexing adult games that are free on their service. So if it's a game that does not require payment, Itch is, I think at this point, gotten it back up so that it can be found in searches and found in databases across their network, which is very good.
And this is for all adult content, not just games. So
Yep.
comics, fiction, any of that. So
yep. So again, as we talked about last week, like Itch is a smaller site. They don't have the resources of Valve, so they kind of had to act fast and paint with a broad brush. And now they're in the process of kind of manually auditing, I guess, a lot of the content that was taken down to see what can go back up and what's going to be deemed unnecessary by their payment partners. So again, it sucks, but it's good that we see some things happening in a positive direction here. GOG also has some bundles that they're just giving away a bunch of adult games for free right now that you can do it because they're fighting the good fight in that regard. So, and gamers are organizing too. There's been some campaigns to flood like Visa and MasterCard.
There's been a lot
with phone
of calls
calls
for Visa.
Yeah,
just inundating them because the difference between like an email can just be filtered and get a boilerplate response, but these companies, like if you call them, they have to answer you. And even if you just get stonewalled and hung up on within 2 minutes or so, like they are required to answer you. And the thing is, almost all of these call centers operate on paying the call center employees per call taken, which means if you are calling them over and over again, the corporations then have to pay the call centers that they use that much more. So this is not only putting like vocal, visible pressure on these companies, but it's also putting financial pressure on these companies. And so I hope people continue to do it because what MasterCard put out a very flaccid response, so to speak.
very much a. And another thing, I'm not mad. Make sure you don't put in the newspaper.
Please don't put in the newspapers that I got mad. So yeah, what they said basically was like, well, we've always had this policy regarding illegal content, and of course the point is that like pornography is not illegal. Even types of pornography that you might not jive with is still not illegal. Like having, a fucking foot fetish or something like that. Probably not most people's speed, but also it's not illegal. So that kind of adult content doesn't fall under illegal content. And that's now what people are really hitting them at, is that like, not everybody is comfortable with certain types of pornography, and that's fine, but it doesn't make that pornography illegal. So I hope the pressure continues to mount against Visa and Microsoft, because I think this whole thing is bullshit, and what it really comes down to is puritanical right-winged people who think that their belief system should be everybody's belief system, and that's not how the world works, has ever worked, or will ever work. So those people can fuck off, and they can restore the pornography for the rest of us degenerates. Thank you very much.
I'm going to read you guys a list of games and see if you can pick up a trend of what some of these games have in common. This is a list of the top 10 selling PlayStation games in the United States last quarter on PlayStation platforms. Number 1, Elden Ring Night Rain. Number 2, Forza Horizon 5. Number 3, The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Number 4, MLB The Show 25. Number 5, Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Number 6, Doom The Dark Ages. Number 7, Death Stranding 2 On the Beach. Number 8, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Number 9, Minecraft. And number 10, Assassin's Creed Shadows. Now, you eagle-eared listeners might have picked up that 5 of those games in Sony's top 10 selling games on the PlayStation in the second quarter are published by Microsoft. And in fact, only 2 of those games are published by Sony. which is very interesting and maybe one of the clearest signs that we've come across yet, that this whole console exclusivity thing might be a fool's bargain at this point, because there's lots of money to be made.
Unless you're Nintendo.
Yeah, unless you're Nintendo. Well, that's they live in their own Nintendo world. I think
Yeah.
that. But more so, I can see Sony maybe not necessarily knocking the wall down, but certainly getting their stuff out to other platforms faster, because there's a bag that's out there that they could seize going forward. Certainly not one to miss dunking the basketball. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, on the back of firing 9,000 employees, because we need to make more profit that we can. Did note on an earnings call that Microsoft is now the top publisher on both PlayStation and Xbox platforms, which is a phrase that is very funny, but also apparently quite true.
Yeah.
It's a brave new world.
It is a brave new world. Meanwhile, I heard a startling statistic. And again, just to show you and listeners that we all live in our own sort of bubble of sorts as well, and there's things that go on outside of the bubble that we have no concept of. Do you guys know what the most concurrently played game in the world is right now?
Grand Theft Auto 5?
No.
I have no idea.
No. It is a game called Grow Your Garden, I think is what it's called, or Grow My Garden, which is a game that exists inside of Roblox.
Oh, I figured it was some kind of Roblox bullshit.
And it has, like, at its peak recently, 50 million concurrent players, which is more than the top 25 games on Steam combined. Probably more than the top 100 concurrently played games on Steam combined. So, there's a whole other thing happening.
Yeah, man.
Outside of this space.
Wow. Getting old, man. Like, it'll happen to you.
It's happening to me. My partner's kids are up, and all they play is Roblox and Minecraft, and so.
And
I don't understand.
So a couple weeks ago, Jeff Gersman on his channel did, like, he went into Roblox because he's like, hey, like, no one in our side of the gaming space really looks at this, so I just want to kind of look and see what's going on in here, and it's so rough, man. Like, there's so much bullshit that happens in that game. Like, when you play a game inside of there, like, you literally get pop-ups that are, like, prompting you to pay to unlock, like, mechanics in the game and shit like that. And like, this is being played by fucking children, man. Like, it is dour out there.
I had to this is how you look. This is how I know I'm an old man now. I'm an old hypocrite. Okay. I had to tell my oldest, no video games for a week, because, like, the first thing he does is he's like, when I go pick him up from camp, right? He's like, "Can I play Mario Kart when I get home? Can you get in the car first, man? Like what are we doing?" And then I'll tell him, if I tell him, like, no, you can't play, or hey, it's time to get off the game. He's like, well, what am I gonna do? I mean, what you gonna do? Like, you see all these toys back here?
Book. Like,
yeah, play with toys, do a puzzle, read a book.
Play some toys. Yeah. Right, exactly. And I said, oh shit, right? Like he's losing his imagination, because he's a little kid. Like, he ain't got nothing to think about, but he ain't got nothing to do but use his imagination, right? And he's losing it. He used to have a very active imagination, and he's losing it. It's like, oh shit, like, I gotta regulate this shit, right? Like, and now games and systems, like, they have all that stuff where you can like regulate like the length, but I'm like, who cares, right? Like, whatever, like just be an active parent, whatever. And it's like, oh shit, like I was being not negligent, but like it's very easy to not.
Being laissez-faire about it. But
Yeah.
the other thing you have to realize though is that the way that a lot of games, especially stuff like Roblox, especially stuff that caters to kids today, are programmed is to be malicious
Yeah, to hook
and
you,
like
man.
they've literally been engineered. I mean, even games that we play have been engineered to keep your attention as much as possible for as long as possible, just by like drip feeding you, hits of dopamine or like treadmills to run on and dailies to
And
go after and all of that shit.
and you know what? I listen to Stephanie Sterling every week, right? And she would go on, or they would go on and talk about how this stuff is predatory and this stuff. And I'm like, all right, but like, is it though?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
It
Yes,
really
it
is.
is.
Like it is like you said, it is done by design. And it is insidious. And that's the word that they keep using when talking about this stuff. It's insidious. And yeah, that's it. That's the perfect word for it. So the moral of the story is um, if you have small children or if you have a personality that could be described as addictive, like you really need to monitor. And I'm not telling you how to parent or whatever, but like my advice to you is to make sure that you monitor what kids are watching, what they're playing. Like, anyway, I'm old. I'm old. I never thought I'd get to this point where I'm like, all right. You need to turn them games off, man. I'm my father. Well, I'm not my father. My father took my Nintendo 64 and spiked it, and he's really proud of it. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Like, I get out of here because they're mine. But like, yeah, man. Like, I'm experiencing that now as someone with a child that plays video games.
Well, and the irony is like, as much as our parents belly ached about like the amount of times that we were playing video games, like we did still read and go outside,
Yeah.
and like do all this
Yeah.
other stuff that I guess have like a more well-rounded childhood of sorts.
Yeah. But the way games are now, like, you don't have to go outside. You can stay in this world, right?
And hang out with your friends in
And
the
right,
game.
and talk and socialize, right?
Right.
So it's wild, man. It's just wild. It's a full circle moment that I felt like I had to get out there, especially with three people who are guardians to children in some form or fashion. And I didn't want to tell my father because I don't want him to know that he might have been right.
So yeah, it's like I said, that was like, it's one thing to like know about like, hey, here's all the ways that like Roblox is a content mill from people, and that that under delivers them, but just like kind of seeing like how what people are experiencing, which is like, holy shit. Like, and again, it's this world that we know very little about. But that's what a lot of game designers are kind of being.
And we're up on it,
Yeah.
right? Like we we follow this stuff to varying degrees, and we know what this stuff is. But at the same time, like, but do you? Like, it's wild, man. It's wild.
Final news story is a pretty funny one. So, Tencent is coming out with a game called Light of Motiram, which, if you were to look at screenshots and key art from it, it might look quite familiar to another existing property of games that kind of exist in this world today. Because Tencent basically made themselves a survival game in the Horizon universe, down to having giant robot animals, and a title font that looks very Horizon-esque.
So, what the funniest part about this to me was how apparently Sony says that it had discussions with Tencent informally regarding you know, basically Tencent was kind of like pitching Sony on them doing an official Horizon game. That it
They
would
wanted
just
to
be
license the IP from Sony.
yeah,
Like
they
we
wanted
want to
to
do our own
license
Horizon
the
game.
IP and then do a Horizon game, and Sony rejected it. And then Tencent went, "What if we did it anyway?" Which is not how this works.
So yeah, so Sony is suing Tencent in what is bound to be one of the most like open and shut like slam dunk cases that I've ever seen. And so to Carrie's point, like what actually probably happened is Tencent was like, we're gonna develop a Horizon game. Don't worry, Sony will definitely partner with us. And Sony was like, nah, fam, we're good. Like we don't need that. And they're just like, oh fuck, like we already made it. Might as well put it out there anyway.
Mhm.
Yo,
Well-
this is wild. Yo.
Tencent remains honestly one of like the ballsiest fucking studios out there because
they
obviously
have the money. They have the money. Like,
Yeah,
what's
they
this
have
gonna,
the
what's this
money.
gonna cost them?
Yeah.
They're gonna get.
Yeah,
They're gonna
right.
lose, and they're gonna pay a shitload of money, and this game's not gonna come out. But at the same time, they don't care. Like, I guess
Yeah.
it's worth it. Like, and somehow, like, if by some weird miracle, like the judge in the case doesn't grant Sony like an injunction preventing this game from releasing, it now has a shitload of notoriety behind it that'll make people buy it just as like a curio of sorts, and they'll make they'll make a shitload of money from that. And a lot of people were like kind of pointed out, they're like, well, you know, what about Power World? Like people were like happy like when Power World came out and kind of thumbed the face of Nintendo. But the difference is like even though like in Power World like were there some very overt similarities to like Pokemon? Yes, but
Yes.
Power World wasn't trying to make like a Pokemon game.
No, they
With
were doing a
Pokemon.
monster catching game that, you know, basically flew a little too close to the sun, and that's why they lost their the own lawsuit that Nintendo brought. But the difference is like they didn't just fucking take Pikachu, trace over it, and make him green, which is essentially
they
what
didn't even do that with this. Like the protagonist they have in the screenshots is like a red-haired woman that has a fucking
Yeah.
focus in her ear. Like it's not even
No.
trying to differentiate itself in any way, shape, or form from the Horizon series.
Yeah. There is a joke about a Chinese knockoff in there somewhere, and I'm not gonna make it.
So if you haven't seen this yet, again, just Google Light of Motiram and see, and just feast your eyes. In his This Week in Gaming video this week, Skill Up showed like a sequence of screenshots side by side and like alternating in random order between screenshots from Horizon and screenshots of Light of Motiram, but didn't have like the badge of which game it was for a couple seconds, so you could try to figure out like which game it was from. Just kind of comparing them.
It's the you need to find the difference between these two pictures. They're the same picture.
Oh, so yeah, ballsy fucking maneuver from Tencent, but I'm sure they will get smacked down in court over this. We move on from there to the Dense Pixels post office, where you can ask us questions in our Discord every single week. If you're not a member, again, go to densepixels.com/fans. We'll start with Michael B., who posted a question last week that was for Carrie, but she wasn't here, so we'll ask it now. He says, I am a black man of a certain age, 34. I think it's time for me to pick up and learn an instrument. I played trumpet in middle and high school. I'm considering learning how to play either the bass or drums. Carrie, what is something I should consider when buying my first bass, or even a recommendation would be dope? As far as music I'd like to play, I'm into punk, metal, jazz, funk, and hip-hop, and recently took a deep dive into psychedelic rock.
Well, what it really boils down to is your comfort level when holding the instrument. Because for me, I can sit here and tell you that, a P bass, a precision bass by Fender or whoever, is the way to go. But, at the end of the day, I don't like Strat style bodies because of how they tend to sit on my torso. I don't find them particularly comfortable to play. Similarly, a lot of people love Stingrays, which incidentally also have Strat style bodies. But Stingrays are also extremely heavy. My first 5-string that I owned was a Stingray. And while I loved the tone that it got, and I thought the neck feel was really good, I also just I didn't like playing it out because of the weight. Truthfully, so I currently own 4 bases, and 3 of them are what are called short scale bases, which means that the neck is a little bit shorter. They still have the same, generally the same amount of frets and whatnot, but it's just smaller. And then I have a 5-string, which is my custom build Kiesel, which I spent a lot of money on. But what I would recommend, generally speaking, is go to your local, guitar shop. If you have a mom and pop, I generally recommend going to mom and pop shops. But if it's a guitar center, that's generally fine as well. And just sitting down with a few different kind of body styles and seeing what feels good to you, because every neck profile is different. Every body style is going to be different. Weight is a big one with any instrument that you're going to have around your neck and your shoulders. So, you know, I don't think necessarily any kind of bass is, better than any other for certain kinds of music. I have this custom Kiesel. It's headless. It's more associated with heavy metal, but I've also used it on funk songs. Similarly, I have a Dan Electro Longhorn, which has flat wound strings on it, which are very much associated with more jazz and blues and whatnot. And I've used that on some heavier stuff. So it really just depends. Feel free to DM me if you want sort of more in-depth instructions, but really the best thing you can do for yourself is go into your local shop and just be like, hey, I'm interested in getting into bass. What's a few different options? If you're just kind of getting into it, a good entry level in terms of price point, there's a lot of good stuff out there in the 350 to 500 range. Gretsch makes a good model that I actually really like a lot. Every time I see the new Gretsch basses, I get very close to just bringing it home with me because I like the way that they look more so than anything else. But yeah, thank you for the question. I've been playing bass for 25 years now, so I have offered online lessons in the past as well, so please hit me up.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Cam asks, now that everyone else is aware that Joey Swole is a massive piece of shit I've known for years, is there any famous person you immediately knew was shit, but it took longer for the rest of society to realize?
Will Smith. Look, I was a fan of Will Smith, but he just started getting kind of, I don't know, and this was well before the slapping thing, right? There's something about him. Do people like Jennifer Lopez? Because I don't.
I think people generally do.
I feel very neutral on Jennifer Lopez.
I think Jennifer Lopez is the definition of pretty privilege. Her talent lies in dance and choreography. Whoever told her she could sing and act they were trying to make something happen, and they were buttering her up because she cannot do either. And I don't think this next person is a piece of shit, but I've been saying that Gal Gadot cannot act for a very long time, and people were just like, but she's Wonder Woman, and I'm like,
yeah, but she sucks.
Yeah,
she sucks. She's not a good actress, and also she sucks in numerous other ways.
They had Princess Buttercup put on an Israeli accent in Wonder Woman because Gal Gadot can't do any other accent. They had Robin Wright. They had everybody in Themyscira had to have this weird Israeli accent because Gal Gadot can't like act. And now that I told this to Jay, now I feel totally vindicated and pleased that it is societally acceptable to make fun of Gal Gadot's acting.
I don't I don't know that I don't know if there's anyone who I was in like I knew before everyone else did kind of situation. I'm still holding out hope that Michael Fassbender ends up being a piece of shit one day because longtime fans of the network know that I'm not a fan of Michael Fassbender. I think he's a terrible actor, and it would help vindicate me if he came out and was like, I'm actually like a right wing asshole or something. He seems like a perfectly nice gentleman.
Look, here's a foolproof way to determine if someone is an asshole. It is the Rupert Thorne test, right? Rupert Thorne from Batman the Animated Series. They were trying to dig up dirt on Harvey Dent and his assistant or his coworker. She was like, "Oh, the guy's squeaky clean, Rupert. I don't know if we can dig anything up on him." He was like, "The brighter the picture, the darker the negative." And it applies to Joey Swole. Mr. Jim Positivity. I'm positive guy, positive. You know, just ask the colors how positive I am. Like, what the what? Look, I don't know that guy, but yeah, he seems too positive. If you're too positive, if you're too
There's something wrong
nice,
with you.
I
You're
don't
covering for
trust you.
something.
I don't trust you.
I think for me, it's probably got to be Nicki Minaj.
Yeah, I can see that.
I just something about her didn't feel right to me.
Yeah,
And
it's coming out now.
yeah, not great. And then I think the other one, and maybe this is just because of like my parents' age, but Eric Clapton.
that's actually a really good one. That's
I
actually a
feel
really
like
good
everybody freaked out recently because Clapton did like the anti-vax stuff and like was very against like COVID mandates and stuff like that. And I just remember my dad being like, "Oh, it's a shame about Clapton." And I was like, "Dad, Clapton is also a admitted rapist and domestic abuser and has been for years. Like, why are we surprised that this guy sucks? He has always sucked." Like,
Well, it's 'cause
cocaine is a
it's
good
'cause we all-
song, but
it's
like
'cause
he
we all felt
sucks.
bad. It's because we all felt bad for him because his kid died in the early '90s. So
Fuck him.
So that Eric Clapton is a pretty good one actually. Like he's really shown his ass in the last several years, especially. And then, like you said, you know, a lot more besides.
Yeah.
GT Simpson asks, if you had a magic wand and could change one thing for any gaming franchise, what would it be? They note the trait evolution system in Pokemon and the funky stealth system in Assassin's Creed.
I would get rid of all the cartography mechanics, particularly in Ubisoft games where you have to climb a tower to open a map. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the map should just, like, the world is there. Like, let me explore. I don't want to have to climb a giant tower to look around to get my bearings or whatever. Like, I know why they do it. They want to show off their climbing tech, and they want you to appreciate the world that is not curated. It's just generated, but whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, but it's annoying.
Unless you're an immersive sim, can we just get rid of encumbrance as a mechanic in all video games? It serves no positive purpose at all. It is just
yeah. I think it's interesting because I think about like stab and the trait evolution. So stab stands, if you're unaware, stab stands for same type attack bonus, which means that a fire type Pokemon using a fire type move will do more damage with that move than a normal type Pokemon using a fire type move. The thing about stab is I think stab actually makes a lot of sense. I like that little bit. I think that like it encourages you to have certain types of attacks that align with certain types of Pokemon. I think that's fine. Trait evolution system feels a touch outdated by today's uh standards. I think there should be another way for me to evolve a Scyther into a Scissor beyond having to find a friend to coordinate with and then trade it while it's holding a specific item. I completely agree with that. I do think that like that mechanic should stay in, but there should be a like alternative way to
Mhm.
evolve these Pokemon.
And
The thing,
what's ironic about that? It should in theory,
Mhm.
it should be easier than ever to
It should be, but
participate in that mechanic, and yet somehow it is not.
it is still as tricky as it was 25 years ago. And then I think what I would want to change would honestly be more about like the IVs and the EVs, like those stats and that kind of shit. I've never liked the nature system. I've never liked any of that. I think that in particular drives me crazy because it means that in order to be competitive at Pokemon at the highest levels, you have to like do all this crazy shit with breeding and trying to find basically like the perfect thing. And I wish it was something where it was more along the lines of, oh, we're just going to like raise these values in a slightly more streamlined fashion. I think the IV EV system and the nature system is so convoluted and bullshit, and I would love it if Pokemon abandoned that entirely. Then the other thing that came to mind is in the Golden Sun games, the one thing that I really want to change is that it lacks what you would call smart combat, where if you have all four party members attacking one specific creature and there are two available, if the third out of the fourth attacks kills that creature, the fourth party member doesn't then move to the next creature available. They just defend instead, which is usually a waste of a turn. So I would just want to add smart combat to Golden
Mm.
Sun.
Yes, that's even when Golden Sun came out, that was a
Even when
very
Golden Sun
outdated
came out, that
RPG
was
mechanic.
extremely
Yeah.
outdated. Yeah.
Okay. If I can also add, and again, this isn't franchise specific, but every single RPG should have like the metaphor slash persona slash like Earthbound thing where if you fight something that's completely under leveled compared to you, that the fight just automatically
Mhm.
like happens, that you don't have to go through the
Yeah.
rigmarole. So it's
And
another.
the thing I would add on top of that is every RPG should have it's the one thing that Bravely introduced that I think should be in every single RPG is if you have random battles, you should be able to adjust the rate of
Mm.
random battles that occur.
Yep. Yep. You typically only see that in these remasters that they're coming out with, but yeah, that'd be a good mechanic to just put in the game. Good quality of life feature. Ejac asks if you had carte blanche on choosing a music artist for your dream video game, who would you choose? If Nujabes was still with us, I'd sign him instantly. He says.
That's the right answer, buddy. But since he is not with us, Nichiro Nishihara does some similar work, but he's kind of moved into more of a house style music. Funky DL. Who else? Marcus D. Who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Let me open up my app. Re Plus, DJ Okawari, Fat John, just any of those people um, that do like lo-fi, jazzy, hip hop beats, which is gonna be in what's that? Ghost of Yote? Remember that direct? Man, did we talk about that direct?
Not, we didn't talk about it in depth. But yeah, so what Mike is getting at is that so Ghost of Tsushima had the Kurosawa mode, which puts it in like a like a top bar format and black and white and up the film grain and stuff like that. Well, they're gonna have that, but they're all what's the new mode called that they're adding into this one?
I forget the I can't remember the name of it. I'm trying to look it up. The Watanabe mode,
There you go.
where you can listen to I don't know why I blanked on that. Where you can listen to like lo-fi hip hop beats a la Samurai Champloo, right? Where most of us kind of discovered Nujabes, and in the 25 years ago, because you're old too. Yeah, man, like this game is speaking directly to me. Like this game is trying its best to be my game of the year, by those two modes right there. Like, so yeah, play Ghost of Yote. You're gonna get what you want, bro. Like,
if we're talking like existing video game composers, I think like Motoi Sakuraba, I think is like beyond his work in Golden Sun, which, you know, is where I was introduced to him, but he also did like Mario Golf and Mario Tennis and Dark Souls and basically all of the Tales of games. I think he's just prolific in a way that that many others of his particular vintage aren't. Or I would go with Zune, who's the guy responsible for the Toho Project series. I think Toho is known for a lot of things, but the music in particular, I think, has always been good. And Zune does a lot of things that I think are very musically interesting. So, yeah.
Very cool. GT Simpson comes in with another question for my F1 heads, so me. Is there a dream car and dream track you would love to take for 5 laps? They say for me, I'm taking a Ferrari and the Miami track sideways if I had my way. I don't know that I have an affinity towards any particular F1 car. The current year's McLaren seems like it's very easy to drive, so I guess that would be what I would go with. But my favorite track to race on, probably would be Interlagos, just because that track has a good mixture of real high speed straights and corners, but also like a nice technical infield, so you could really get a sense for both both of the car's strengths. The other one is Monza, but Monza feels too boring. Feels like too much of a basic answer for that. But that's Monza's just the go fast as shit track. Like that's basically what that's there for. So not Monaco, I'll tell you that much. That would not be fun. Mad Coco G says, if Sega tried again with Sakura Wars via the Persona Studio, would it actually have a chance to take off in the US since the 2020 reboot that nobody talks about?
The thing about Sakura Wars is it has been around since 1996 and it's never found a foothold here, which means that it has been around as long as the Shin Megami Tensei series, and I believe as long as Persona has been in the United States. And for as long as Persona was around in the US, it took until 5 to really go truly mainstream. Sakura Wars is... It's interesting because I think the issue with Sakura Wars is less about like the quality of the games and just has to do with the fact that it's a tactical RPG with dating sim elements. Mm-hmm. And in the grand scheme of things, so is Fire Emblem, but I think Sakura Wars just like hasn't been able to find the foothold just because of the genre that it exists in. I don't know if giving it to a studio like P Studio or like Atlas in general would be like the move. I mean, technically they could do it because both franchises and studios are owned by Sega. But it's I think it really just has to do with the fact that like it's ostensibly like a tactical RPG with heavy visual novel elements and heavy dating sim elements. And because all three of those things are very niche on their own, you're really only going to be able to like appeal to so many people. Yeah, Shin Sakura Wars came out in 2019, worldwide in 2020. Didn't really do so hot. It was also considered, even in Japan, kind of a 7 out of 10 game. So, I think that has as much to do with it than anything. Sold well enough in Japan, but yeah, it's not the kind of franchise that is going to have the global appeal that Persona has managed to capture for a lot of reasons.
Let's see here. T Wash asks, "What is your white whale of merch?" There's a figure that I want so bad, but it is impossible to find, and it's too expensive now.
Curious to what that is. There was this sideshow Doctor Doom statue,
Mm.
not the Hot Toys one that's coming out, but there was another one that's coming out that's like 4 feet tall, or that came out that was
Oh
like four
shit.
feet tall. I couldn't, I wouldn't be allowed to bring that in my house, and it is way too expensive. But yeah, it's probably one of those.
I don't know that I
I
have a
don't
good
know.
answer for this one because
I don't know that I have like a merch white whale, but I do have like a promo item white whale. I actually have a couple, and they're unsurprisingly both related to Golden Sun. But I have a lot of Golden Sun promotional items, mostly from Dark Dawn because Brad and I were working at GameStop when Dark Dawn came out. I have somewhere a really funny picture of that Brad himself sent me of him teasing me holding up the Golden Sun Dark Dawn game. So it's like I have like the little standee and whatnot, and really something that I have been on the lookout for a long time is the small like tabletop like counter tabletop promo for Golden Sun: The Lost Age. I've seen a couple of them show up on eBay, and they've generally ended up out of my price range, or I lost last second to a sniper bid. So I would love that. It's like holographic. It's nothing to write home about, but for me, that's my white whale. And the other thing is, there was a Golden Sun: The Lost Age like promotional T-shirt that was given away, and I haven't had any luck finding that either. So, in terms of like mass market merchandise, um, I've got everything. I've actually sold a lot of my figures this year. So yeah, there's nothing I really want that's like that had like a mass production run.
let's see here. C Kent asked, "Do you guys have a guilty pleasure TV show or game?" I can tell you the game that I feel the guiltiest about that I've been playing recently. And I've talked about it on the show before, but it's been kind of a comfort food game. It's the Zachtronics Solitaire collection, which I have just a absurd amount of hours in, and all it is just a compilation of like 8 different like solitaire games, some of which are like uniquely designed and some of which are variants on like currently existing stuff. But man, it's really hard to not play it when you're just kind of sitting there and you want something to do while you're doing something else just to keep your hands occupied. And I need to find something else to take that place because I, again, way too many hours in this game.
If you ask me, you know, what guilty pleasure TV show, I mean, at this point, it's fucking wrestling. Because Jesus Christ,
we'll get there. I've been dancing around. I was gonna save those.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been known to play. I've been known to play an anime titty game every once in a while. I can't remember the last one I played to be like fair to myself, I guess. But if you look on my trophy list, I'm sure there's one trophy somewhere so that I can't get rid of the of the game on my actual list of games that I've played. Um, that has some sort of, busty anime girl on it.
I don't know that I have much in the way of like a guilty pleasure. It's like I've played some dating sims, but I wouldn't say I feel guilty about them. Like I don't harbor a lot of guilt for the things that I enjoy. I tend to enjoy them loudly and openly. Um Maybe like that 70s show just based on how many of the actors kind of turned out later in life, but um I don't know. Red and Kitty still bring me a lot of joy, so I still like that show a lot.
Beach Boy asks, hopefully y'all got Micah and Terrence on here this week. Well, 50% ain't bad. Pick your favorite character, game, movie, show, or comic book that would be invited to the proverbial cookout. I know the correct answer is, which is they should decline, but let's say this is the one everyone who is invited could come, and what would they bring?
Um, the only one I can think of off the top of my head is after from a video game,
Mm-hmm.
which is any game. Well, I'm gonna cheat then because there are a lot of Dragon Ball video games, and I'm gonna say Piccolo because Piccolo is the closest thing to an actual black man in that universe, who is a good dad, and and he wears a wrap on his head, um, and yeah, and his best friend is an aloof white man. So yeah, yeah,
There you go.
Piccolo. That's the answer.
All right, let's get into the fucking wrestling talk. It's not gonna be too terribly long, but two questions, and we'll combine them into one, and then just fucking talk about this. Johnny asks, who decided to bring back Piss Jug Man? Was this a TKO or Call, or is Triple H testing the waters, quote unquote? Because wow. And then John C says, related to Johnny's question, it's just a coincidence they did away with the media scrums right before bringing back a dude named in an ongoing sexual trafficking lawsuit, which alleges a whole ass human being being used as a bargaining chip in his contractual negotiations, right? Can't have Mr. Levy split this water at the White House fumble his way through answering one or two questions about it at the end of the night. Yeah, no fucking shit that the moratorium on press conferences was, coincidentally aligned. Again, not only with Triple H's ill-advised visit to the White House, acceptance of a position on the quote Presidential Fitness Council unquote, but then of course yes, with the as Triple H said in the wake of that, when asked a question about Vince McMahon and the still pending litigation of sexual harassment against him, said something along the lines of, well, people make mistakes and eventually we have to move forward and this, that, or the other thing, right? Little did we know that he was also talking about Brock Lesnar, because Brock Lesnar was about to grace our screens again.
That's how bad it is.
I'm glad
That's
I didn't watch Slam yesterday because I would have been so bummed out by it. I watched Saturday.
That's the irony. As I put it in the Discord, I actually didn't watch SummerSlam all weekend. I was only tangentially aware that it was on, and I just wasn't like I've talked about on the show for the past several months. Like I just haven't been very feel welcomed by WWE. But I happened to be online as the main event was starting, so I'm like, we'll tune in, we'll see if Cody turns heel or if John Cena was blowing smoke when they just decided to dump the fucking heel turn story that they've been telling for the past 5 months with him or whatever's been going on. And the match was fine. I think people are praising the match heavily. I think I've determined that the WWE style big event, main event style match just isn't my jam anymore, of just watching two people just throw haymakers at each other until one of them finally, just can't answer the bell anymore. That's basically the style of main event match they've been using for the past decade. Ever since Brock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 31. So the match was whatever for me, and then as soon as Brock Lesnar's music hit, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like send me a clearer message that you really just don't want me fucking around with
Yeah.
this program.
That's how bad it is, and that's how you know that they know it's bad. That they wouldn't even do their their dick riding, fart smelling. You're the greatest ever. How on earth are you so? How are you such a booking genius? Press conferences
Mm-hmm.
where they bring in sycophants to ask, the most like Triple H, how on earth, how is your lower back after carrying so much dick? Like you are amazing, right? Like that's the type of questions they get, and then they would maybe get one person to come up, but that's how bad it is. That they know that one person would come up there and be like, "What's up with that, man?
I don't.
Like,
Yeah.
I think
what's
it would have
Brock
been.
doing?"
I think that would have been like the question of the fucking evening, though. Is the thing.
It
Like, I
had
don't.
to have been.
Yeah.
It would have had to have been, right? Like that's
Yeah.
how, and that's what I'm saying. Like they put them, they introduced this element back into their company, where even in that very friendly area of the press conferences that they used to have, even that wouldn't be safe for them.
No.
That safe space wouldn't
Mhm.
be safe. That's how bad this is. And I'm not. As soon as I heard the music, I just turned it off. I watched the ladder match because I really wanted to see that ladder match because I never get to see the Street Profits on pay per view. So I really wanted to see that ladder match, and I mean, I was entertained. I was, and then I was in and out, because it started early, and I gotta help put kids to bed and stuff like that. So, but I did make it back for the main event. And for a 40-year-old man and a 50-year-old man, they did way more than I thought they would. From
Mm-hmm.
a 40-year-old man that like gets the psychology of the performance of wrestling, and a 50-year-old man who gets that, but like can't do the moves as well.
Mhm.
It was better than I thought it would be. And I kind of figured it would be because they had to kind of do a mea culpa for that first time that they wrestled. Um, then as soon as I heard the music, I just got done, and then I just got up and went to bed, man, because it's like, all right, but like at the same time, like I'm not I'm not surprised. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
to get back to the question, was it a TKO call or Triple H call, or if you're Triple H, he's like, oh, it's John Cena wanted it, guys. My hands are tied.
Well,
I'm just a
he's
creative
learning.
guy.
He's learning from the ultimate buck passer, like
Right,
the
right,
technique, right?
right,
So,
right.
oh, if it's great,
Fucking
if it's awesome, I did it. If you hate it, it was that other guy.
right.
So,
Triple always chickens out. Like it
yeah.
works, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it works. Um, so Thaco, Triple H always chickens out. So there you go. But to get back to the question, I think it could have been. It doesn't matter whose call it was because it could easily be any one of them,
Mm-hmm.
and it may. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whose call it was. They all agreed to do it.
Well, and the funny thing is that you don't need this. Like
You
John
don't, yo.
like
You
John
don't. What
Cena's
the fuck?
yeah John Cena's retirement tour itself is like enough of a draw to get people to tune in and to get like the big gate and stuff. Like, look at all the people that are on the card that you could put John Cena with. Like John Cena versus Gunther. You could run back John Cena and Roman Reigns. Like you could run back John Cena and Damian Priest. Like maybe that's not as big of a draw right now.
You can put a young guy up, or you can make a star. You can make
John
a
Cena
star by
versus Braun
having
Breaker.
right.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like it doesn't make any sense, and that proves to me that Thaco has no faith in his card. Like he's got no faith in people that aren't Seth Rollins, CM Punk, or Cody Rhodes, or Gunther. Because I still think they're gonna have that match. I think that's gonna be his retirement match. But he has no faith in anybody else on the card. Even people who are proven commodities like Braun Breaker. So I don't. How awesome would it be if we all know how John Cena came in, right? Kurt Angle, on my Mount Rushmore, by the way, of professional wrestlers. He's really good at what he does in all aspects of professional wrestling, right? How awesome would it be if John Cena paid it forward, has somebody come out, or you know, who wants to step up like he used to, right? And then somebody comes up and just like, you know, ruthless aggression or whatever, the reality era or, you know, whatever, right? And make a star. Like you said what you want about Vince. He saw something in people and he knew how to make stars from people that didn't deserve it. So you know, it's just weird, man. Like I'm not feeling it. And this is the first time in a very long time because like wrestling is usually something that like I would just kind of have on, but I would still watch. I don't even want to just like have it on in the background anymore.
Well,
Like it's just
and the other problem with it is that like it has fallen prey to the same thing that we see everything falling prey to is that for longer, frankly, than I anticipated, wrestling like somehow managed to stay somewhat apolitical, even in the era of Donald Trump, where since 2015, basically nothing has been able to be apolitical. Like it's basically like politics has, you know, been insidiously inserted into everything. Even stuff that like it was always there, but it was like you could ignore it. Like now it's in your face all the time. And I like again against all odds, somehow WWE managed to mostly avoid a lot of that. Like it still did, like it almost went out of its way to not engage in that. And then like this week especially was just like them, as I've seen many people describe it, like take the mask off and be like, no, like actually it was us the entire time. Like this is always what it was. And to some extent it's like, yeah, of course this is always what it was. Like you're fucking like the matriarch of the McMahon family is in the fucking Trump cabinet, and you know,
all these. Guess what, guys? All these wrestlers, they're rich dudes. You think Cody Rhodes? Just because Cody Rhodes is married to a black woman, you think that dude is on the right side of history? I don't. He's got an arm tattoo on his neck of a skull with wings and an American flag. Get out of here. Nah, yo. Nah, nope. I'm not buying it. You know what I mean?
yeah, nor should you. Like I said, I think at this point, anyone that continually happily involves themselves and promotes WWE like kind of doesn't deserve the benefit of the doubt in a lot of ways, and kind of needs to be the ones to go the extra mile to show like, hey, no, actually, I'm not a piece of shit.
And look, man, like I'm not here to poo-poo on things that you like, right? Like if you like wrestling, like keep watching it. I'm gonna probably keep watching it. I'll watch like big events, but like week to week television, week to week television has been suffering. And that's my thing. Like I'm very good at trying to like at keeping politics kind of at bay a bit. Like when it's not like directly in my face. But at the same time, like, yo, if you're gonna dangle, you know, Brock Lesnar in my face, like, well, like that guy's a creep, man. Like that guy's a creep. Like you're gonna dangle Hulk Hogan in my face, and like, all right, man. Like you let him go, and then you brought him back, and he didn't get a good response. And now that he's gone, you're trying to pretend that like I get it. I get it. I do. I really do get it. But at the same time, like I don't have to watch. And
Yeah,
I'm not.
Trust me, I got plenty of other things competing for my time and attention, and to be able to excise. I mean, and I haven't been watching weekly for a while, and I haven't even been watching the big events for the last couple. I think the last one that I did watch was probably Backlash, which was back in April. Like, and I haven't really watched anything since then. So like, I've certainly stepped away, but like this week was like a very aggressive statement by them in many ways to be like, actually, we would like to cater to this specific audience, and if you're not really down with that, then we're cool kind of shoving you away. And I'm saying, okay, cool, enjoy that. Again, it seems to not work really well for a lot of other businesses when they purposely push away more liberal minded people and force them to confront things that they're generally uncomfortable with being forced to confront. So again, enjoy. We'll see how long the good times last, and we'll see when the pivot happens, because I don't think that those good times will actually last.
You know when the pivot is going to happen? You know when the pivot is going to happen? When Trump shows up at a PLE. When Trump shows up at one, then that's going to be the actual test, right? Because Trump can go to a UFC event, and those UFC fighters are running to get to their knees.
But UFC is already generally like I feel like combat sports, like real combat sports, are like generally a right wing appealing industry anyway.
And that's what I'm saying. If Trump shows up to one of these things, that's when the real test is going to happen, right? Like, that's when the real, like, rubber is going to really hit the road. And I think I don't put it out of the realm of possibility that he would show up at, like, a WrestleMania, especially in Vegas, since they're going to be doing them in Vegas for a while. And the home of the UFC, you know what I mean? Like, that's when the real test is going to happen as to whether or not WWE can feel like they can just kind of get away with anything.
Yeah. Well, and what's funny is that there was a time not that long ago where I was like that kind of possibility has always been in the back of my mind, especially because he's like, well, he's in the Hall of Fame, you know, and like he has like a long time connection with the company. But I was always like, they're not stupid enough to fucking fumble the bag like that. Like, they understand how polarizing he is.
No,
and now,
they are, though.
now I don't think that's the case. So
yeah, now they're, you know, he's on the. Terrence asked us in a private group. He was like, "What the fuck is Triple H doing at the White House?" I was like, you know, it's for the Presidential Fitness Challenge. Just you know, like, but why him? I was like, because it's just like when Arnold Schwarzenegger was there. Like, you get this guy to lend this credibility to it. And he also had Lawrence Taylor there, which.
Yeah, Lawrence Taylor, who previously,
what the fuck?
For those that don't realize, pleaded guilty to trafficking a 16-year-old girl, and Lawrence Taylor made a culprit for this by saying, well, hey, like, it's not like it was some child, like, this was a working girl, so, you know, it's okay.
All right, yo.
Don't let your kids play football, folks, because apparently when you have lots of concussions, it leads to tons of brain damage. By the way, former WrestleMania main eventer Lawrence Taylor. It's worth pointing out.
Yeah,
to bring everything full circle.
Oh shit. Oh man.
So Carrie, how you feeling as a relatively new wrestling fan?
Not great, especially because like there's a lot going on that I like. You know, I started watching, you know, week to week when it hit Netflix, because then I could actually watch it week to week. Last year I watched kind of all of the PLEs because I have Peacock, so it was kind of like a why not. But I wasn't quite as invested as I became over the course of this year. So it is just tough, right? Because it's like, there are things that I enjoy. There are certain like superstars that I really like. You know, Penta is fucking incredible, and like he's so fun to watch. You know, everything that happened with Seth Rollins this weekend was just like so good, so good. And then like the immediate swerve into the bullshit, right? Like, and so it's tough, you know. I do kind of want to see if the very loud negative reaction to Brock's appearance makes them rethink that and kind of see what happens. But like, you know,
The problem is
it's
though is that reaction has to happen in the
It's got to
arena.
happen right there.
Yeah, it
yeah,
has to
It's got to
happen in
happen
the
right
arena.
there on television, and
Yeah.
it's not. It's not going to, because most people don't know or care about the Janelle Grant stuff.
yeah,
Like everybody knew about the Hulk Hogan getting
Mhm.
caught saying the N
Mhm.
word or
Plus
whatever.
they were in fucking Los Angeles, like the
And then we're in
world-
California,
Like,
yo.
Yeah.
Like, yo, well, come on, yo. So, but yeah, it's got to happen right then and there, and it's got to be sustained, and it's
Mhm.
got to be, and even then,
right. They'll
probably
try to spin that into
right.
Mhm.
They'll
a
pipe
positive
in.
somehow.
Yeah. He's working the crowd. Like, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
All right.
I mean, I kind of want to take a wait and see approach, but I'm also starting a new job where I won't be able to watch Raw as much anyway. So maybe this is a good time for them to fuck around and I can just watch Penta highlights after the facts. Like,
Yeah, and again, like it, and to Carrie's point, like that's actually, a really good point. Like, you can all if you want to kind of stay connected to it, but not have to be forced to watch it. Like they put out highlights on YouTube every week, and you can do it that way. But yeah, it just fucking sucks, man. And again, like wrestling's hardly the first thing that I've had to kind of reevaluate my feelings toward based on political stuff. Like I said earlier, like everything it seems to have like a stance or something assigned to it in some way, shape, or form. But as we've talked about many times in the show, like you can understand that like those things exist around you. Just don't shove our face in it. And if you decide to shove our face in it, then you're gonna force people to make difficult
Yeah.
decisions, and they're not.
Yep.
They're often not going to go the way that you think they are. So, as a corporation that's trying to be successful, and again, like you would think that your job to be a successful corporation is to appeal to the widest demographic that you possibly can, especially a demographic that tends to have money and spend money on things that has a lot of disposable income and tends to spend it on frivolous things that makes them happy. But I guess
Yeah.
I guess poor people in the South have money too to spend on fucking $40 t-shirts and
Not WWE ticket price money.
yeah, like $100 fucking middle bowl seats to wrestling events and everything else like that. So cool, good choices all around there. So that'll do it for us. Again, don't forget to if you want to ask us questions in the post office, denspixels.com/fans to join the Discord. Carrie, anything to plug this week?
Yeah, so this coming weekend is MagWest. So if you happen to be in the Bay Area of California, it's down to San Jose. I'm doing too much. So Friday night is the Buy Score album release party for our new album Out in Front. That album is available to order either digitally or on CD. We are putting 4 additional tracks on the CD for a total of 19 tracks, which is a lot. But otherwise you can go to buyscore.bandcamp.com and order either version. And here's the thing. So you might have noticed if you're a regular listener of the show, I wasn't here last week. And the reason why I wasn't here last week is because I was at the animal hospital with my eldest cat, Gannon, who almost died, didn't die. Very happy for that, but I had basically been told that if things hadn't improved when they did, that I was going to have to make very hard decision. So I'm very glad he's home. Very glad that he is back to his usual sweet self. Gannon is my white and tabby cat who often has made cameo appearances in the YouTube edition of this podcast. So I am currently looking at more than $9,000 in vet bills total because of the amount of treatment that he had to receive and the surgery that he had to receive. So fortunately, many people have been very generous and many people have ordered the album. Currently, album proceeds are largely going towards paying off the rest of these vet bills that I had to finance. So if you like video game music and you want to support me and my cat personally, there's a lot of cool stuff on the album. We've got Final Fantasy VII, we've got Sonic Adventure, StarCraft, Earthbound, Zelda, and then we've got like Pokemon Snap and RoboCop and Umi Neko and Paradise Killer. So a lot of deep cuts, but it's really fun start to finish. I'm very proud of the work that my partner and I did on that. So yeah, album release show this Friday night, 11:30 p.m. And then Saturday night, main stage, my Hades band Premium Vintage will be on the main stage at MagWest. And then in between all of that, I will be doing a speed run as part of the Mag Fast programming. And I'll also be hosting the Dwelling of Duels panel as well. So if you're attending, let me know. If you're not, then you can catch it all on recaps online after the fact. But yeah, shows don't stop. Yep. I will have to practice the minute we are done recording this episode.
That reminds me, I'm pre-ordering my Buy Score album as we speak. I forgot.
Thank you
to do that earlier. And again, that's on Bandcamp for folks that would be interested in checking that out. It's buyscore.bandcamp.com. And for me, again, don't forget that I did start my newsletter that I've been kind of sending out, and just kind of a place for me to riff on some various topics week to week. I've got a couple things kicking around for this week. I don't know which way I'm going to go yet, because I have something I want to talk about: attention, kind of taking attention back from things that are stealing it from you. I also have some thoughts because I went to Banana Ball this past weekend here in Baltimore, and that was an interesting time as well.
Yeah, I saw that on TV.
Yep. So it was interesting, and I have some thoughts about that for sure. But again, that is mindswept.club. If you're interested in signing up to receive that newsletter, it's completely free. All you need to do is give me your email address so I know where to send it every single week. That is going to be it for us again. Thank you all very much for watching and listening, and we will see you all the next time.
Thanks.
See ya.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here, and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.